So the Espresso Martini is still having a moment. And why not? They taste great. A lot of bartenders like to crap on the Espresso Martini for being basic, but there's no shame in liking them. It's actually quite a good drink. And it's easy to make. 4 common ingredients and you're there. But why do it the easy way when you can do it another way that's a lot less easy? Enter James Hoffman. For the uninitiated, James Hoffman is, in my opinion, one of the best YouTubers in the game. He makes videos about coffee, but even if you never touch the stuff, his content is quite entertaining. And he has an Espresso Martini recipe. And right now, the James Hoffman disciples are thinking, hold up, Zach, James Hoffman never made a video about the Espresso Martini. If he did, I would know, because I've seen all of his videos. And you're right, as of this filming, he hasn't made a video about it. But he did create a recipe for Chef Steps. And if you don't know about Chef Steps, you're in for a treat. They're a food and drink site with a ton of great recipes, and I've learned quite a bit from them. Link is down below. But yeah, the recipe. It's a bit more complicated than your standard Espresso Martini, but it's worth the effort. Here's what you'll need. Vodka, fresh coffee grounds, whole milk, simple syrup, chocolate bitters, and they recommend Scrappies, which thankfully I have, and espresso. If you have an adequate machine and can pull a decent shot, great. If not, these dumb pods from Espresso are your best friend. You'll also need a scale and a cream whipper, and if you don't know what a cream whipper is, it's a fun toy with a lot of useful applications, but today I'm using it to make a rapid infusion. But before I get to the torso cam, I'll give you a quick rundown of this process. First, we're going to take Mr. Whipping Siphon and infuse the coffee grounds into the vodka. Then we're going to milk wash the vodka to strip some of the tannins. Then we're going to strain the heck out of it. And then we're going to build our drink. And yes, this is a lot, but make a batch of these at your next party and you'll be the talk of the town. Now, on to brass tacks. First, bust out your scale and whipper. And I'll say this up front, since we're dealing with grams, pour these amounts slowly so you don't add too much. Like I did, several times. Weigh 400 grams of vodka. And I don't have enough. Sit tight, I'm pretty sure I have more. There we go. Whew, video saved. So 400 grams vodka, 80 grams of medium fine coffee grounds, and give that a stir. If you don't have a bar spoon, you can also use a chopstick. If you're using a half-liter whipper like this one, charge once with a nitrous oxide cartridge. If you're using a liter, charge twice. After charging, let this sit for 2 minutes. Now you can't see it, but what's happening in this potentially dangerous tool is the intense pressure is flash infusing coffee flavor into the vodka. Could you accomplish the same thing by mixing the coffee grounds and vodka and letting them sit for 12 to 24 hours? Absolutely. When you release the pressure from the whipper, there's a chance some of the vodka may come out. Holding something over the dispenser like so will mitigate that. You're going to strain this twice, first through a cheesecloth, and then through a coffee filter. The coffee-infused vodka will be surprisingly bitter after the infusion. The milk wash fixes this nicely. For that, weigh 90 grams of whole milk and slowly add your coffee-infused vodka. According to the recipe, your milk should break, but if it doesn't, add citric acid solution 1 gram at a time until it does. And if you've never used citric acid to break a milk wash, check the notes in the description below for a full breakdown. Once your milk looks like this, cover and put it in the fridge for at least 30 minutes, but for the full James Hoffman experience, let it sit for 24 hours to really develop the flavors. Now, this part of the video took a little longer than I anticipated. I also may have botched my first attempt at the milk wash. All of which is to say, it's getting a little late to be drinking espresso martinis. After all, I'm not Kate Moss. So I'm going to let my infusion rest overnight and pick up this little experiment tomorrow.
The next day...
Alright, it's the next day. Let's do a strain. Your final strain will be through a coffee filter, and as you would with any milk wash, moving your straining rig once the curds form at the bottom of the filter is a good move. If you've done this before, you know it takes a while, so, I don't know, run some errands or something.
6.5 hours later.
Okay, your milk-washed coffee-infused vodka is finished. Here's how you make this drink, and I must say I rather like this preparation because all the ingredients are weighed rather than measured. To your mixing glass, weigh 24 grams of simple syrup, 40 grams of fresh brewed espresso, 110 grams of your vodka, and 1 gram of chocolate bitters. Stir and strain into 2 glasses. Yeah, Chef Step says this makes about 2 drinks, so bring a friend. Ooh boy. Dense flavors. Chocolate bitters are just barely there rounding out the coffee. This is a drink for people who want to take their espresso martini game to the next level. The elephant in the room, this drink is not shaken, and pros will tell you that you need to shake the drink to get that distinctive frothy head on the surface. And yes, shaking is the only way to get that lovely foam. But this is a James Hoffman drink, it is not a typical espresso martini. Also, I quite like the fact that it's just brown and ungarnished. In fact, maybe it shouldn't even be called an espresso martini, because it does taste rather different. Concentrated, earthy, but I'm gonna add something that's not in the recipe. Branca Menta, for its sweeter, mintier younger sibling. If you know, you know. In some circles, this is called a cracking spoon. It's also called a large bar spoon because the bowl holds more volume than what we call a stirring spoon. Yeah, the combination of coffee, chocolate, and mint is rather unstoppable, and it's alcoholic to boot. Quite satisfactory. The drink is great in its original form, but I do like this maybe a little bit more. Maybe next time a quarter ounce instead of a bar spoon. And a little bit more bitters. Mr. Hoffman, if you're watching, thank you for sharing this drink and your brain with the world. And if you ever want to collab, call me up. I'm listed. In closing, this is a must if you want to try an A+ spin on a nightclub drink. And the vodka will keep in the fridge basically forever. But if all this is too complicated, just put 2 ounces of vodka, 1 espresso, half an ounce each of Kahlua and simple syrup into a tin, shake the heck out of it, strain, do your 3 coffee bean thing, and enjoy.
Turn camera.